Good morning, student. Jai Hind. Welcome to my YouTube channel as well as a study point. Student, today I'm here with the next topic of Beehive book, The Sound of Music. Basically, this is the first part of this chapter, and we will see about this. What is the story of the sound of music? So we have just two part of the story. So let us see what is in the first part of this story. Now student, you can see this picture on your screen. The sound of music. This is the first part. Evelyn Glennie listened to sound without hearing it. So as you can see this title, Evelyn Glennie listened to sound without hearing it. It is also, you can see here this picture of this lady on your screen to the left side, Evelyn Glennie. So this character is Evelyn. This is a story about a deaf girl who can feel the sound of music. And this chapter, as you know, this chapter is written by Deborah Cowley. So now let's see the next thing of the topic. Now student, it is also mentioned here about the author. As I told you always, just before the study of this chapter, we should just have some knowledge about the writer. So let's see what is the fact is available related with the writer. You know, Deborah, this lady is Deborah Cowley, who is a freelance writer and broadcaster. She grew up in Toronto and also graduated from the University of Western Ontario and moved to Ottawa to work for the Unitarian Service Committee. This is a very basic fact which is related with the life of the author. She spent her 2 years with UNHCR. It means United Nations Relief and Works Agency. This is in Beirut before moving back to Ottawa, and a job with CIDA. As she traveled the world with her diplomat husband, she worked as a reporter for CBC Radio in Washington, D.C. and on a posting to Cairo. She worked on several TV documentaries for CBC's Man Alive. Also in Egypt, she wrote the first official guidebook to Cairo since Baedeker's guide in 1940s. So on the basis of this content, we can see here this lady is totally related with the print media and electronic media, and also she was a very good reporter, and also she just worked for some agencies. So let's see the next thing. This is about the lesson. Now in this content, you can see what is the story of this chapter. Actually, we will see here the content at a glance. Now let us discuss the title. The title itself is a very interesting. What? Here the author says Evelyn Glennie listened to sound without hearing it. Now we all wonder, we are confused. How can you listen to sound which you can't hear? So this is very impossible. If you are deaf, then you cannot listen anything. You never listen. So this is something we will discover here. That how Evelyn Glennie was able to listen to sound although she could not hear. Someone has commented this about Evelyn. He says that although God took away her hearing power, she was impaired, but He gave her an extraordinary thing, and that was the sense of feeling. So on the basis of this line we can say, and also this is very famous line because God just taken out from you something I mean to say, God just give you birth on the earth with the lack of something, then he also give you a strength, something special. So she could feel very deeply, far more deeply than the normal people, and that is why she was able to express music so beautifully, so well. This is a well-known multi-percussionist. She plays different percussion instruments like xylophone, drums. It means here, as you know, she was a deaf girl and she was unable to listen any sound, but she can feel the sound. She can feel the sound of music. From here we came to know the theme of this story and the message we get from this story. The story of Evelyn Glennie is a motivational story. It inspires us to overcome our physical disabilities and achieve our dreams and goals just like Evelyn did. So on the basis of this content, on the basis of this thing, we should understand this: a person should never give up. If you have any disabilities, so you never give up, because we have a strength in another matter. So this is a true fact. This is a fact. If you are a disabled person, it means you have ability something in another content. Now, a student, I have this video. So this is for you. Just watch this video and try to understand.
The sound of music. Evelyn Glennie listens to sound without hearing it. Rush hour, crowds jostle for position on the underground train platform. A slight girl, looking younger than her 17 years, was nervous yet excited as she felt the vibrations of the approaching train. It was her first day at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London, and daunting enough for any teenager fresh from a Scottish farm. But this aspiring musician faced a bigger challenge than most. She was profoundly deaf. Evelyn Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradual. Her mother remembers noticing something was wrong when the 8-year-old Evelyn was waiting to play the piano. They called her name and she didn't move. I suddenly realized she hadn't heard, says Isabel Glennie. For quite a while, Evelyn managed to conceal her growing deafness from friends and teachers. But by the time she was 11, her marks had deteriorated, and her headmistress urged her parents to take her to a specialist. It was then discovered that her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. They were advised that she should be fitted with hearing aids and sent to a school for the deaf. Everything suddenly looked black, says Evelyn. But Evelyn was not going to give up. She was determined to lead a normal life and pursue her interest in music. One day, she noticed a girl playing a xylophone and decided that she wanted to play it too. Most of the teachers discouraged her, but percussionist Ron Forbes spotted her potential. He began by tuning 2 large drums to different notes. "Don't listen through your ears," he would say. "Try to sense it some other way," says Evelyn. "Suddenly I realized I could feel the higher drum from the waist up and the lower one from the waist down. Forbes repeated the exercise, and soon Evelyn discovered that she could sense certain notes in different parts of her body. I had learned to open my mind and body to sounds and vibrations. The rest was sheer determination and hard work. She never looked back from that point onwards. She toured the United Kingdom with a youth orchestra, and by the time she was 16, she had decided to make music her life. She auditioned for the Royal Academy of Music and scored one of the highest marks in the history of the Academy. She gradually moved from orchestral work to solo performances. At the end of her 3-year course, she had captured most of the top awards. And for all this, Evelyn won't accept any hint of heroic achievement. If you work hard and know where you are going, you'll get there. And she got right to the top, the world's most sought-after multi-percussionist with a mastery of some 1,000 instruments and hectic international schedule. It is intriguing to watch Evelyn function so effortlessly without hearing. In our 2-hour discussion, she never missed a word. Men with bushy beards give me trouble, she laughed. It is not just watching the lips, it's the whole face, especially the eyes. She speaks flawlessly with a Scottish lilt. My speech is clear because I could hear till I was 11, she says. But that doesn't explain how she managed to learn French and master basic Japanese. As for music, she explains, it pours in through every part of my body. It tingles in the skin, my cheekbones, and even in my hair. When she plays the xylophone, she can sense the sound passing up the stick into her fingertips. By leaning against the drums, she can feel the resonances flowing into her body. On a wooden platform, she removes her shoes so that the vibrations pass through her bare feet and up her legs. Not surprisingly, Evelyn delights her audiences. In 1991, she was presented with the Royal Philharmonic Society's prestigious Soloist of the Year award, says master percussionist James Blades. God may have taken her hearing, but he has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels, far more deeply than any of us. That is why she expresses music so beautifully. Evelyn confesses that she is something of a workaholic. I have just got to work, often harder than classical musicians, but the rewards are enormous. Apart from the regular concerts, Evelyn also gives free concerts in prisons and hospitals. She also gives high priority to classes for young musicians. Anne Richlin of the Beethoven Fund for Deaf Children says, she is a shining inspiration for deaf children. They see that there is nowhere that they cannot go. Evelyn Glennie has already accomplished more than most people twice her age. She has brought percussion to the front of the orchestra and demonstrated that it can be very moving. She has given inspiration to those who are handicapped, people who look to her and say, if she can do it, I can. And not the least, she has given enormous pleasure to millions. by Deborah Colley.
So now, student, I hope you can understand this video and also the story of this chapter. So let's see again about the character. Yes, you saw that lady in this video. This is Evelyn Glennie. You can see this is a real picture of Evelyn Glennie. Evelyn Glennie was born in Mathenlick, Aberdeenshire. Her father was Herbert Arthur Glennie, an accordionist in a Scottish country dance band. The strong indigenous musical traditions of Northeast Scotland were important in the development of the young musicians, whose first instruments were the mouth organ and the clarinet. Other major influences were Glenn Gould, Jacqueline du Pré, and Trilo Corto. So this, and student, you can understand these are the instruments. Now she studied at Allen Academy and the Royal Academy of Music, and was also a member of the National Youth Orchestra of Scotland. She was a member of the Cults Percussion Ensemble, formed in 1976 by local musical educator Ron Forbes. They toured and recorded one album, which was re-released trunk record in 2012. So as we can see here, this content, so this is a little content related with the life of this character Evelyn Glennie. Now student, you can see this picture on your screen also. This is a video, this is a documentary video on of Evelyn Glennie, and just watch this video and try to understand how was Evelyn Glennie and how was her life.
I'm often asked how I physically feel sound. Now, obviously, it's quite a different experience when you're practically on top of the instruments, where you're the producer of the sound as opposed to being the listener or a member of the audience. But nevertheless, we can all physically feel sound. We just have to pay attention. And the idea is opening up your body like a resonating chamber. So when I strike this big bass drum, you can actually see the head vibrate. I can see it very clearly, even just by looking at it face on, but from the side you can really see that. But if I put my finger on the drum, and I stop feeling it. So that's a long time that it's actually resonating through my fingernail or wherever you put your hand. And the idea is to really pay attention, and that's really what listening is all about. But also, if I take a stick, and very often when I hold a stick or a mallet, I almost just have my little pinky supporting the stick, so that when I actually strike something, I'm allowing the vibration of the sound to come through the shaft of the mallet. So for example, if I go closer to the edge, the vibration is much closer together. And so on and so forth. If I decided to hold the stick or mallet and kept a good old grip on it all the way through the stroke, I'm actually cancelling that vibration. It's just a split second mistaken that I'm actually feeling something. So it's really up to yourself to start exploring that and deciding where you want to be in relation to the instrument. And it opens up the different possibilities in where you want to strike as well. So it's not just the sound that you want to create, it's the feeling as well. So is it a distant sound that you want? Is it a kind of vibration where you want it to be a nervous vibration or something quite open? And this all affects how you physically play and negotiate the instrument as well. And thus what...
So I hope, student, you can better understand now about the Evelyn Glennie and how she can feel the music. Now let us see the summary of this chapter. So I'm just starting from the very first line. As you know, this is a story of a Scottish girl named Evelyn Glennie. She loved music and had great interest in playing the musical instrument too. Unfortunately, by the time she turned 11, she lost her hearing power and became deaf. For Evelyn, it was a big shock, but she determined to lead a normal life and pursue her interest in music. Music was in her blood and soul. She happened to meet her mentor and teacher, Forbes, who identified her talent and told her to feel the music. She realized that she could feel the higher drum from the waist up and lower one from the waist down. Forbes repeated this practice, and Evelyn discovered that she could sense certain notes in different parts of her body. She learned to open her mind and body to sounds and vibration. And Evelyn then moved to the Royal Academy of Music in London. She scored one of the highest marks in the history of the Academy. Gradually, Evelyn left the orchestra and started giving solo performances. Not surprisingly, she won many awards and always pleased her audience. Evelyn won Philharmonic Society's prestigious Soloist of the Year award. Apart from the regular concerts, Evelyn performed for the deaf children also. She has accomplished so much because of her sheer determination and hard work. She undoubtedly is a great inspiration for many. So I hope you can understand this story of this chapter, the first part of this story, The Sound of Music. Thank you. Have a nice day, student. Thank you for watching. So, the second part of this chapter, it will come soon. Let's see the next part of the story. Bye. Have a nice day and Jai Hind once again.